Welcome to Chatting with Nana. I'm extremely disturbed today. I usually like to reminisce a little bit on my videos, and this is just a forum for me to vent my opinions. But recently, I've been extremely disturbed. I'm sure everybody knows now that Mr. George Floyd was murdered by police officers in uniform. I was upset because I always see the United States as strong, powerful, and fair, the champion of human rights. But it's a facade. And I think Americans all over the country finally opened their eyes and took a good look. And I guess we all said in one voice, I once was blind, but now I see. The truth is, both Republicans and Democratic parties have failed Americans, most especially black people. You know, people keep saying that slavery is a thing of the past. Is it really? Why would a police officer in a uniform who probably took an oath to serve and protect thought it was okay to slowly suffocate a man in the streets, a man of color? He's not the only one. Somehow in the American conscious, or subconscious, it's okay to kill black men. Whether they're in a uniform or not, it's okay for private citizens to hunt down a black man and shoot him to death in the street. Is this good sport? I think the one good thing that the pandemic has brought about, the only thing so far, is that Americans are now paying attention to what's going on around them. We're no longer occupied by our petty little lives, trying to get a promotion, helping our kids get better grades, trying to get our kids into a good quality college. Well, that sounds great. But for a lot of us, that's not even an option. When I was a little girl, about, say, 7 or 8, I told my parents I wanted to learn how to play the saxophone and I wanted to be an astronomer. They dissuaded me of that dream. Why? I think because they knew as a young black woman, I would never be allowed to achieve my dreams. Does anybody ever stop to wonder why the percentage of blacks are so poor, forced to live in slums? Landlords are not required to give the basic needs of heat and hot water. I know because this was my existence when I was younger. I also know about hunger. And I think Americans have finally opened their eyes and looked to see what it means to be black in this country. Voiceless, powerless. I didn't see the whole video of George Floyd being murdered. I was beyond appalled. I was enraged. How is it this police officer thinks it's okay to murder people like that? This was an innocent man. Oh, people say he had a criminal record. I don't care. That's irrelevant. When this police officer showed up for whatever reason, whoever called him for whatever reason, this was an innocent man until he had been charged and tried in a court of law and found guilty of something. Until that happened, he was an innocent man. Black men have been being murdered for centuries. Anybody is at risk. I heard a story about a black police officer who had her home raided at 1 o'clock in the morning because somebody thought there were drugs in there. Didn't her address pop up as a police officer? She was killed. Yes, America, we need to wake up. We need to look around us and see what's going on. Why is this pandemic continuing? Why don't we have any disinfectant? Why isn't the President of the United States working 24/7 to find a treatment? A vaccine sounds great, but how long will that take? We need a treatment. I had diphtheria as a child. Before they had a vaccine for diphtheria, they had a treatment. We need to put somebody in the White House who's going to give us direction, leadership. We have a narcissistic thug and a bully in the White House. He spends his time criticizing, putting people down, dividing the country. The sad truth is, the United States of America is a racist country. It was founded on racial principles. When the Constitution and the Bill of Rights were written, black people, majority of black people in this country were slaves. We had no rights. We were property. And yes, now we're no longer property, but we're still slaves. We're denied a decent living. Does anybody ever wonder what happened to all the manufacturing jobs? They went overseas. Why? Systematic racism in this country. If there's no jobs, black people can't work. Black people can't work well. They have to stay in the ghetto. Maybe get a little handout from the government. Right now, Donald Trump has reduced the United States of America to a welfare state. People getting handouts. Only certain people are allowed to work. People keep saying, they want things to get back to normal. Well, that normal is gone. It's dead. It's not coming back. We have to find a new normal. We also have to acknowledge that black people are citizens of this country. We pay our taxes. We want what everybody else wants. We want to feed our children, shelter them, keep them safe. Why are so many black people denied this? And I think the federal government, in lieu of all that's going on now with the coronavirus pandemic, I think everybody's education loans should be forgiven. We want to get this country back on its feet. People kept saying, let's make America great again. Well, the truth is, America was never great. There's always been a double standard. If you were white, you have all the benefits of citizenship. Depending on what economic level you were born into, you didn't exist. You had no rights. I don't believe the American people are going to get past Black Lives Matter. Every life should matter, but there's always been a double standard. Black lives are not worth as much. Black sons, black fathers, black brothers, black sisters, we don't have the same value. Why is that? What was it that made these policemen think it was okay to murder this man in a heinous, torturous manner? How long did it take to suffocate this poor man? What terrors ran through his mind? Is this what we want the world to see? Is this what we want? That's America? When did this become a police state? I thought the civil rights movement said all of that in the past was gone. Obviously not. And it's horrifying to know that this gentleman had to lose his life. Mr. George Floyd had to lose his life in such a horrendous manner. There were 3 policemen putting their body weight on him, and his hands were handcuffed behind his back. And every other policeman who showed up and didn't bring this to an end should be charged with malice, negligent malice. They should be charged with something. They allowed it to happen. Is this what happens? This man had to have so many policemen show up to back him up. Was that to make sure the public didn't intervene and save this man's life? It's a good thing that Mr. Floyd's mother is already deceased. Can you imagine the horror she would have to live with, knowing that her innocent son was murdered on the public streets of the United States of America? I don't believe this country can survive another term of Donald Trump. He's a fool pretending to be president. Or maybe he's trying to become dictator. I don't know. But soon after George Floyd was murdered by uniformed police officers, Mr. Trump had peaceful demonstrators beaten out of his path so he could go and stand in front of a church and assume the same pose that Adolf Hitler did, holding a Bible in front of a church. What is the message he's trying to tell us? If you will recall, he had a lot of private meetings with Putin and Russian delegates. American news media were not allowed to be present in these meetings. He's feuding with China. He admires the leader of North Korea. If you believe in the possibility of America being a better place, elect him out of office. The truth is, the United States of America was never a great country. When you systematically keep a group of people down, do not allow them the full benefits of citizenship. We were born here. Our whole history is about fighting to be a part of the country. Black men had to fight to have the opportunity to die for the country in all the wars. Many people don't realize a lot of black men who fought in World War I were lynched before they even made it home in their uniforms. Somebody thought it was an outrage that this black man was wearing an American military uniform. If you want to get a really good idea of how far we may have come, everybody should watch the movie Hidden Figures. Yes, we rave about America going into space, American men walking on the moon. But did you know that black women were pivotal in making this possible? I never heard about this. The first time I saw the movie, I was angry. I was outraged. My whole life, all I've ever heard was, you are disadvantaged. You're a minority. You should be quiet and sit in a corner. Yes, I wanted to be a sax-playing astronomer. My parents squashed that dream. I thought they were just being mean, or they wanted me to do something else. And in reality, what they were trying to do was save me from massive disappointments. There was a time when only the rich could afford to send their children to college. But you know what? America as a great country is a facade. It's a mask. And the truth is, the Republicans, in concert with Donald Trump, is destroying this country. It's dividing this country. We need to come together as one people. Citizens of the United States of America. It doesn't matter what color your skin is or where your ancestors came from. We need to deal with the here and the now. And Americans everywhere need to demand from all of our elected officials, find us a treatment so that we can get back to living. How long are we supposed to stay? Cowering in our homes, afraid to go outside because we might give a deadly disease to our neighbors and friends, or they might give it to us. We have divided families. We have divided communities. We have divided friends. Separate doesn't work. United we stand. Divided we fall. America, Black lives do matter. I know it's a simple statement. I've also heard rumors that white supremacists have been getting hired as police officers. That's terrifying. Donald Trump put up a wall of wire around the White House. That's not his White House. That's our White House. We the people. We the people are upset. We need a president that's going to sit down and listen to what we have to say and try and heal these wounds. That action should never have happened. Why would this police officer think it would be okay to murder a black man? Somebody said it was because of a counterfeit $20 bill. Well, I don't know about you, but I wouldn't know what a counterfeit dollar bill looked like. I don't look at my money like that. It's a $20 bill. I can buy this, I can buy that, and I'll get this much change back. What was it? This man committed murder. Willful, deliberate murder. From his stance, his hand in his pocket, looking around at everybody. Look at me. Look at me. Look what I'm doing. I am proud to be doing this. Well, for too long, black people have lost their lives. And what did America say? Nothing. When you walk in the woods, take a walk in your backyard. Are you aware of how many ants you may be stepping on? Of course not. They don't enter into your radar. Most of us wouldn't deliberately walk on them. But nonetheless, black people are treated like ants in this country. Some of us manage to avoid the foot. But in order for this country to actually become great, and I think the United States of America has the potential to be the greatest country on the planet. I know some of the smartest people live here. How many of you remember Silicon Valley? How many of you remember the fact that it was America that created the internet? That was pivotal in creating smartphones. We need to bring jobs back. Jobs were taken off the American soil so that black people would not be able to work. Factories, manufacturing. Why is everything we buy come from another country? I've gone into an American supermarket and found oranges from South Africa. Does America not make enough food to feed its citizens? I never got any stimulus money. I have driven with my daughter from the eastern seaboard, north to south, south to north, east to west. And I've met some really nice people. The image that racism is a standard in this country, it's a fallacy. Most people are not involved in being racist or discriminatory. They see you as human beings. Not once did my daughter and I get disrespected. People treated us with respect, and we returned the same. So, this may be just a handful of people who have it in their mind that because they're white, they're better than everybody else. Well, the reason that this country has the potential to be the greatest country on the planet, we have people from every country around the world living here, contributing, making this a great land. George Floyd was murdered. Those police officers who were leaning on his body on the ground are murderers. All of them. The police officers who were milling around and allowed this to happen are also murderers. I don't know about anybody else, but I don't want these types of people claiming to protect me. If I really do have a need for the police, will they show up and just kill me because I exist? Was the fact that George Floyd was a tall black man, did that condemn him to death? We need change. Police officers are running amok like vigilantes, and they in turn are allowing other people to act like vigilantes. We got no justice for Trayvon Martin. He was shot by an ex-con who didn't get charged with a crime. He didn't go to jail. He's an ex-con. Why did he have a gun in his possession? He hunted this poor young boy down and murdered him. In Georgia, a father and son hunted down another black man and murdered him. I remember all the way back to the 70s in Bronx, New York, an arthritic grandmother wielding a knife after people broke into her home. She was shot to death. Multiple times. Someone breaks your door down. What's your first instinct? I'm being robbed. Somebody's here to hurt me. You will defend yourself. It's so sad that these thugs are wearing police uniforms. And this goes all the way at the top. We need to have change. We need to have dramatic change. This coronavirus tells us that we are not prepared for anything. We need to have everybody working on a treatment. Or did Trump already make a deal with a pharmaceutical company for a vaccine? Yes, that sounds great. But what about now? How many more people need to die? We need a treatment, something that will ensure that if you do get sick, you will survive. Something to mitigate the symptoms so they're not so terrible. And if this is a naturally occurring virus, why does it act so much like a programmed bioweapon? And here's one question I want you to think about. Why is it Donald Trump doesn't seem to have any fear about getting sick? He's been in close quarters with people who tested positive. He never wears a mask. Did he get a vaccine long before this became a pandemic? I think American people need to raise their voices in one voice. I once was blind, but now I see. America has lied to me. Republicans are more important than being American. Isn't that what Hitler did? He had everybody swear an oath of loyalty to him, not to their country, not to their political party. And now it seems that being a Republican, a good member of the party, is more important than being an American. We will not tolerate a dictator. Americans are telling you from all over the country, Black Lives Matter. Wake up, elected officials. We are telling you, we need guidance. We need healing. We never knew this was so bad. Let's take the mask of America off and take a good look. And is this the reason why we don't actually teach American history? Because in that history we'll have to deal with slavery, inequality on the job with women making less money than men. People are always talking about the baby boomers are at war with the millennials. Well, that's just plain ridiculous nonsense. I am the grandmother of millennials. And those millennials, some of them have children of their own. I am not at war with my descendants. Stop making things up. You want to make something up? figure out a way to bring this country together, to make us whole, because we have never been whole. And I think the time is now. Everybody seems to know that Black Lives Matter. Why doesn't the president? Everyone, let's change America. Let's work hard. We can make America great. Let's put people to work who actually want to work. Let's stop importing stuff from China. Let's start manufacturing our own needs. I hope to be able to see you again for another Chatting with Nanny. Until then, stay safe.